There was some strong language coming out of the US State Department about the brutality of the Assad regime. Our North America correspondent Craig McMurtry joins us now from Washington. Good morning, Craig. What has the US had to say and why have they chosen to say it now?
Well, the language has been uncompromising. Clearly, this has been part of a choreographed action around the world, beginning in Australia, through Europe, now here in Washington. The State Department and the White House coming out calling this massacre on the weekend vile. The White House spokesman said it's a horrible testament to the regime's depravity. Victoria Nuland from the State Department was also very strong. Obama administration officials are saying that they do believe pro-government, pro-regime militiamen are responsible for most of the killings, execution-style killings. They're also drawing links to Iran, saying that they are employing tactics that are also seen in use in Iran. Here's some of what the State Department spokesman Victoria Nuland had to say.
Well, let's start with the fact that we put responsibility for this massacre firmly at the feet of the Assad regime. We are appreciative of the fact that the Russians are willing to have a full investigation, because we think it's undisputable what that investigation is going to show. It's going to show that these were regime-sponsored thugs who went into villages, went into homes, and killed children at point-blank range and their parents, and that responsibility goes right back to the Assad regime.
So, Craig, what's the US saying that how else can the international community respond to this?
Well, the Security Council is getting a briefing tomorrow. The US is promising further punitive measures, economic, political measures. The White House is saying that it's not really ready to pursue any sort of military intervention at this stage, though it's interesting that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs has gone public saying that whilst he's also urging a cautious approach, there are military options available to the White House if President Obama chooses to have a look at them. And for his part, President Obama has been coming under increasing pressure from his Republican rival Mitt Romney and from others on Capitol Hill for not doing enough to help the Syrian opposition. There's no question the pressure is mounting, that this is indeed some sort of turning point, tipping point. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 48 hours or so, but at this stage the administration is being quite clear that it is not ready to explore military options yet.
And Craig, you mentioned the phrase tipping point. That's what Kofi Annan has said after his meeting in Damascus with President Bashar al-Assad. What are the UN's options?
Well, the UN could, I guess, pursue further sanctions. The interesting point here, I think, is that the White House has been very clear to try and make a case that Syria is different to Libya. You'll recall that in the case of Libya, there was a UN Security Council consensus for some sort of military intervention. The White House is also saying that in the case of Libya, an entire community, a city, was facing a potential massacre. Now, we know that Russia and China have vetoed resolutions directed at Syria before. Russia's also clearly under pressure here right now. The Russian Foreign Ministry is calling for an objective investigation, but there's pressure all round, and more should be known tomorrow once this briefing has been presented to the UN and once it becomes clearer whether there is any sort of substantive response from the Assad regime to Kofi Annan, who is there trying to save his peace plan right now.
Craig McMurtry in Washington, we'll leave it there.
OK, thank you.